Good morning, students. Today we'll deal with the poem The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, that is one of the finest poems composed by him. So, first of all, we'll know something about the writer or the poet. Robert Frost was an American poet who was born on 26 March 1874 in San Francisco, California. He also won some awards like Pulitzer Prize for Poetry. There are some famous quotes given here. You can read them. And his famous poems were Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, Birches, Home Burial, The Runaway, The Road Not Taken, and so many other poems. So, before continuing the poem, let's understand the title first. The Road Not Taken. It is a very significant title because the road symbolizes our life, and according to the poet, the path, the options that we don't choose in our life is the road that is not taken by us. So I hope that the meaning is clear to you about the title. So now we'll discuss some points that the poem deals with, like confusions in our life, if our decision goes wrong, if we make a wrong choice, then what will be happen with us in our life. Should we follow others blindly, or we should make analyzation of our own capacities and abilities, then we should make a decision. There are so many opportunities in our life, abundant avenues in our life, so we have to make a choice, a better choice from all of them. Like there are so many career options for us, to be an artist, to be a teacher, to be a journalist, to be a lawyer, and so many other options. So if we are going to make a choice, we should be very wise, only the poet tell us. Now we'll forward to the explanation of the poem. This is very significant point. In this picture you can see that there are two roads that are going to the separate directions. So the poet says that two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler long I stood. So the poet says that one morning he was standing in a deep forest, and he came to the point where the roads were going to be diverted or divided into two directions. This was the season of autumn, so all the forest was filled with the trees that that have dried leaves, means yellow leaves on them. So it was looking yellow all over, and he feels sorry because there were two roads and he wanted to choose one road, because he was not able to travel both the roads at the same time. So this is the time he has to think more and more about making a choice between two roads, and looked down one as far as I could to where it went in undergrowths. So these two roads describes two options or many options in our life in which we have to make a choice. He says that he was watching the path very carefully as far as he could see, and before taking the path he wanted to know how it was it suitable for him or not. But he can't see very far because the forest was so deep and dense, and also the road was not straight, it was bent, means it was covered or curved, and it was covered with the small plants or the bushes. So here is the vocabulary given for you. You can see the word meanings here. So the autumn forest or the yellow woods look like that picture. Now let's move to the second stanza. Here you can see the grassy land that is full of grass, and the poet wanted to opt the road or the grassy land because it was not opted by so many people, so he wanted adventure in his life. He says that then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim. So the poet kept on looking one path for a long time to check if it is suitable for him or not, and then he decided and started walking on another path because he was thinking that this path is better than the previous one, and he thought that it will be adventurous for him to go on the new path that is less traveled by the people, because it was grassy and wanted where it was full of grass, and less people traveled on this path. So he wanted to opt this path only, because he was not going to follow others blindly, he was making his own choice. So he also motivates us to make our own choices and not to follow others without thinking anything. Though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. But when he started his journey and he continues going towards the path, he realizes after going some distance that this road was also similar like the previous one, means this road also opted by some others person. Though the people were less, but they choose this road to go towards their destination. So in our life it also happens with us, when we choose any option and we think that this option will not be selected by other persons, but when we discuss this matter to other person, we find that they also have selected the same option like us, and both of these options have the same advantages and same adventures and same challenges that we have to face in our life. So the poet says that we should not afraid of facing the challenges, rather we should face them boldly, and then we will win only in our life. So there are some word meanings like grassy. You can see the grassy land here, and this is the road that is less traveled by because the grass is there. Now let's move on to the next stanza. Here you can see the road where the people are going on, and there are so less people. So he says that, and both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black. Trodden black means the leaves were not crushed by people by walking on them. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to the way, I doubted if I should ever come back. So, in the morning he was thinking, and he says that both the ways were similar that morning, and both the roads were covered with leaves, and no one had stepped on or walked on them, as they were still green in color. They were not crushed by walking, walking feet of others. So he says that he is attracted by both of the roads and he wanted to choose both of them, but it is not possible for him because he is only just one person. So he says that he will opt this road first, and then he will leave the other road for the other day. But there were also some doubts in his mind that if we choose this road, it will be tough for him to come back and to select the other road. So he says that he was doubted, his mind was filled with doubts that if he will be able to come back to select the other road or not. So students, it also happens with us in our life that there are so many choices, and we think that we have to opt this choice and we will opt the second choice in our later future. But it is not possible for us, because if we are making an option or making a selection in our life, then it is very difficult to us to choose and to come back from there and to choose the next option that we have left earlier, because the opportunities never waits for someone. Now there are the word meanings. You can see here, lain leaves means covered with leaves, and trodden black means walked on to crush. This is the last stanza. Here you can see a person who is taking a sigh, means he who is taking a deep breath after being relieved of the tension. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. So now the poet has opted one road and he has exercised his choice also. So now he is able to feel the difference between the two roads that he opted and that he left. So he says that in future he will take a deep breath and say to others that once upon a time he had reached on such a point in his life that there were two options for him, there were two roads for him, and he had chosen a more challenging path that was opted by a few people only. His decision changed his life in future. He thinks if he had taken the other road, his life would have been different. Similarly, in future, you will also grow up and you will say that in your past you had two options. The choice that you made all the difference in your life. It happens with us. Whenever we make a choice, we share our experience to other person, and in this way we feel that if we have selected to the previous option it would be better for us, or if we would have selected the previous option then it may be wrong for us. So there are both the things that we have to discuss in our future and share the experience to the other person. But the poet says that the choices that we make in our present decided our future. So if we are going to make any choice about the career and if we are going to make any important decision about our future, then we have to be very careful. We should think wisely. We should not simply follow others. Rather, we have to analyze our own capacities, our own abilities, our own ambitions. Then only we have to take any decision. So there are some word meanings you can see. Hope that the poem is clear to all. Now moves on the summary. Here the first point the poet deals with is that the road not taken is one of the most famous poem we can say by Robert Frost, because it has a significant message for its readers. And what is the message? That if we are going to make any choice, we should make a wise choice so that we have not to repent in our future. The poem deals with the problem of making a right choice, because it is very difficult for a person to make a right choice, to decide that which choice or which option is correct for him or her. He describes that the two roads as different options in our life. He symbolizes the two roads with the different options in our life. The road that is less traveled means the option that is not selected by so many people. So the people who want adventure in their life, they opt the option that is not selected by so many people. But the people who follow blindly others, they opt the easy choice. They make the easy choice. He only suggests us not to follow others blindly. Rather, we should think about the pros and cons of all the aspects before making any decision, because it is the important decision and our future based on this decision. He motivates us to think wisely and choose better option for our successful life. So he says that if we want to become successful, then we have to make our own decision, not to simply follow others. The summary of the poem: there are some comprehension questions that you can practice based on each stanza. This is from the third stanza, and the questions are from fourth stanza. So this is the practice exercise for you. Now there are some suggested activities based on the poem, like you can organize a small discussion on the topic that what is my choice and why I have chosen this. So you have to justify this. You may also compose a poem like on the topics like dilemma that I suffered, means a doubtful situation that I suffered, or my decision on my choice, my right choice. If I had taken this decision, then what would be happen? You are going to imagine this. So you can also compose poem on that. This will be creative for you. Or the next option, you can also write a short story or on an essay on your choice that you had taken. So this is all for today. Thank you children. Have a nice day.